Hello, trading is closed on the 15th of December 2022. Start with our disclaimer. It's my trading plan for tomorrow, December 16th. Please remember, I can be wrong, and any trade you make should be at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early high, which is this, and tomorrow should also have the early high. Yesterday I gave a number of reasons saying how we could have a whipsaw with a higher price, and I said the only thing that would kill the idea would be the gap under this low, so naturally that's what happened. This is what we said. We get to cross these targets off the list in the 39.52s. We're going to leave these on the chart because that could be resistance tomorrow if we go up. And we have to add 4040.02 to our list of failed targets. During the day and the morning, MEJT said ultimately a higher price would print. It did. You don't have to go higher, but ultimately you almost always do. In the afternoon, it said all these squiggles would retrace, which they did. We got an ultimate sell signal. We got enough to satisfy it, but ultimately, almost always, you get more than this. So ultimately, we should trade higher and lower than we are now. Well, DeMarc stuff really has been disappointing for years, but it certainly called this high right on the nose this week. We had a few targets from the pattern. One was to undercut this low, which hasn't happened yet, but I think will. And the other is to go 225 handles under this blue line. Now today that was 38.67, and we came within 12 handles. And that's probably enough because the line's going up 18 handles a day. So by tomorrow, even if we close off 10 points, it'll be 225 handles under the line. And even if we go up smartly, by Monday or Tuesday of next week, we should be 225 handles under the line. So we don't have to go any lower than this right now. This was kind of a disappointing week for me on Friday. Friday's close was here. I was all set for a collapse. I said all we had to do was to gap under that green line and we should have a collapse. And I had a date. The date was Carol Ann's date of last Saturday. He has a leeway of 3 calendar days. Those came and went, and that didn't work. Not only didn't it work, we had a strong rally instead. I had a price target I didn't want to see violated. That was this one. That got violated. I had a line I didn't want to see violated. It got violated. So I never trade on FOMC days, which was yesterday, and today's plan was to play the Fed whipsaw, and that didn't happen. So it's disappointing, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I made money, but not as much as I should have made. Well, I've modified this slightly. This difference between this high and this high isn't so much. So we're calling this gray A and this gray B. And if gray C is equal to 0.618 times A, difference is about half a hand of where we had it before. We're still looking for about 34.77 and change as a reasonable target. But once again, it's not the only target. There's a case to be made for this completing A, black A, of magenta A, of gray C. One is we've essentially satisfied the 225 point target. The other is you can count this as an ABC with good fibs. And if you focus in on the 5-minute chart, you can see how the fibs work here too. We have 5 waves down. Here's your B, here's your AB, and ABC, and the fibs all work. Now, just because this worked, it doesn't mean something else won't work. But if there is a rally, one place it often will recover to is the 38.2, which is about 39.63, which is in the resistance area of this 39.52. And it's also slightly over this green line. So if we're lucky enough and get a rally, we should get resistance, I think, somewhere in the 39.50s, the 39.60s. And even if that doesn't hold, I don't think we're going to get the Fed whipsaw. And this probably is not going to be violated before there's a much bigger move down. Now, this daily pattern has 3 possibilities, actually 4. Sometimes there's an A pattern, but that's rare, and that's not what this is. One is a strong rally. That's not this. The other is a straight line move down. This is a straight line move down, but typically it'll keep dropping and close near its low. Now, that hasn't happened, but what counts isn't today's close, but tomorrow's open. So if we gap down smartly tomorrow, that's the straight line drop. The other possibility, sometimes you get a wedge-like move like this, and then there's a big rally right after. That isn't a big rally, but that would be rectified if we did gap up smartly tomorrow, which is one of the possibilities. So I think one way or the other, there should be a sharp move, a sharp gap tomorrow. If it's down, I don't know any way to play it. But if it's up, I think we're going to get resistance in the mid 3900s. And if you will, and if that doesn't hold, I think we certainly are going to hold 4100. So tomorrow's pattern has the early high. We could still gap down. Today's normally bullish pattern wasn't. It was very bearish instead. While there was the standard move straight down, these days typically are more negative than this one, and they close near their lows. That deficiency will be rectified if we gap down smartly tomorrow, or at least move down smartly right from the open. Sometimes the day forms a wedge-like pattern and gaps up strongly next day. That's entirely possible here since the wave count shows a completed pattern, and we had a day-long drop which couldn't close under midday lows. We also essentially hit the first target, as I've shown. Accordingly, I'm looking for a strong gap at tomorrow's open. We appear to have started wave gray C down this week with much lower targets. I believe rallies should be used to sell or go short so long as this week's high holds. It's only really 3 days old, and it should have a lot more to go. I don't think it'll be through till at least the first quarter of next year. And I think 3477 is a very reasonable target, although I'll grant you it's not the only one. So tomorrow has the early high. Should be a gap at the open. If we're lucky and we gap up in the middle 3900s, I'm going to go short, and if it's down, I just don't know how to play it, to be perfectly honest. And that's today's call.